Today we're going to do a bit of an experiment. So far I have been growing Echinodorus or Amazon sword plants immersed in water, so the roots and the lower part of the plant are underwater, they're growing in substrate, and much of the plant is outside. One thing that I've learned from growing Echinodorus that way is that they can actually grow with very minimal amount of water. For example, in here I have some of younger Echinodorus plants, and they're growing in this glass jar. It has a layer of regular play sand and some compost potting mix on the bottom, basically just topped with sand. You can see that there are Echinodorus roots in here, so they went all the way down there. And it's growing obviously on the windowsill. It gets quite a bit of draft when we open the window. So the temperature in here is quite cold, I would say. Now it's summer and it's probably like 15 degrees or something in that jar. And the amount of water here is very minimal. Actually, sometimes when we get sunny days, water goes down all the way to here unless I remember to top it up with aquarium water. So one thing that I've learned about Echinodorus is they can survive with minimal water. Can they actually grow as houseplants without any water? This is what we're going to try doing today. I don't have an answer, I don't know yet, but I'm going to do that. So I'm going to plant this young Echinodorus plants, which I'm growing in here into these pots. So I'll show you what these plants are. Normally I propagate Echinodorus. I have a separate video about that somewhere on the channel. You can watch it, it has lots of details. So basically, this is my mother plant, Echinodorus argentinensis. It shoots this sort of extensions with flowers, which later develop into young plants, which eventually I attach to these pieces of styrofoam. I let them float in a fish tank, in this very fish tank, for approximately, well, this plant was in this fish tank for 2 weeks, and you can see that it has relatively developed root system. It is basically a young plant. Some of the leaves are not looking good, but overall it's a healthy plant. So I'm going to plant it in here, and I'm going to see whether it's actually going to grow in just regular potting mix without any water. Yes, the potting mix will be initially wet, but over time it will be just like a regular house plant, like this Dracena in here. So let's give it a try. So we have a whole bunch of these young Echinodorus argentinensis plants in here. The only thing that I've done to them is I've trimmed their roots a bit because they had really long root systems, just like you would do before you would plant this these plants into substrate in your aquarium. So basically I'm going to plant them like this. So I also wash them a bit in the aquarium just to make sure that there's no dust on them and so on. And I'm going to start planting them. Well, I know that Echinodorus argentinensis can grow really fast and it can have really well-developed root systems. So if all goes well and if they actually start growing in these small pots, I would probably have to replant them into larger containers sometime soon. But as I've said, this is an experiment and I have no idea whether they will actually grow here without water. This is something that we are going to check. Okay, so the pots are ready and let's get started. I'll start with this one here, and I'll basically just try to put it in here like that. It's a bit hard to do it with one hand. So here it is. That's how it looks like at the moment. And that's what we have now, 6 pots with Echinodorus argentinensis. They are not going to grow in any sort of a humid environment, in any sort of a closed-in container. They are just going to grow as house plants, just like a regular house plant. I will water them now with water from the fish tank. I don't really know if this is a good idea to make this soil sort of really wet, or should I just leave them like this? But I'll water them. Okay, so now the big question is where to place them. And I want to experiment a bit with different areas. So these two I will put under this LED lamp. I'll probably kind of place it like this. So it gets quite a lot of direct light from, I'll probably try to remove it in here, from the LED lamp, kind of like this, yeah. The other two I'll place in here. That's kind of close to the LED lamp, but not directly under it, so it's in a slightly more shadowy place. And the other two I will actually put on the windowsill, so they would get the direct sunlight. Well, obviously we don't get too much of direct sunlight, and you can see it's June and it's a cold and rainy day here in Scotland, but nevertheless they will be probably getting pretty much the same conditions as these Echinodorus plants around here. So yeah, they would get some sunlight. It will be quite chilly, but occasionally they would get quite a lot of daylight and sunlight. So we'll see how they're gonna do in this environment. Well, it's a day 2, and I can probably say that this experiment was a failure. You can see that both of the plants have lost most of their leaves. They are really dry and soft, and I don't know, it looks like they're almost dead. Well, what about the other plants? Well, these ones, pretty much the same situation. Some of the leaves are very soft, but kind of on the verge of drying up. And in here, exactly the same situation. So these plants are most likely dying. And yeah, I would probably say that it's not gonna work if you're just gonna plant your Echinodorus plants into substrate, into soil, which is not 100% moist, and if the plants themselves are exposed to dry air. Well, I guess that's it for this video. So there's probably no point of making any further videos unless some miracle happens with these plants. So I'll keep them like this for a few days, maybe a week, and see what happens, if there's any fresh growth, and whether they will completely die off. But yeah, that's what it is.